Hello and welcome to Moviefone. Moviefone TV is your ticket to all that's new at the movies. Here's what's hot on screen. An ambitious 17-year-old summer vacation plans get turned upside down in the comedy Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, featuring Nicole Richie.
I'm Ms. Sturak, the babysitter.
Thank you, Miss Sturak. There goes my summer.
I know how to discipline you. I watch Medea movies.
First impression was, oh my God, I can't believe I'm belly laughing reading the script. There's a lot of times you're like, oh, that's gonna be funny once that person's there. That's gonna be funny once it's all happening. And I was like, no, it was funny off the page.
Getting the screenplay, I was like, oh, a remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I'm good. You know, I don't want to even engage in this. But I read, you know, the first 30 pages, as I'll do, and then the next thing I knew, I was reading the entire thing more than once and just really fell in love with it.
And you might hear music, but it's Christian hip-hop.
Hip-hop ruined the blacks.
And with this specific remake, I was just so excited about Wade's vision. Like, he came with all of the just like the fabric of how the film was going to be made, and I was like, I'm on board. Good morning, Mrs. Sturak. Mrs. Sturak?
Cricket. I am a diehard fan. I've seen this movie no less than 1,000 times. I could tell you everything about it. Bring it in, sis. Whoa, A-frame hugs only. I didn't spend 3 hours in that sexual harassment course for nothing.
You're screwed.
When we shot at the original house, I was walking through just so excited, and we've got some very special cameos from the original version there, and I was just like, it felt like I was at Universal Studios. I was like, I cannot believe that I am here. I've been in this living room, I've been in this kitchen. I connect to Rose so much. I quote her all the time.
When I met with Nicole, you know, first of all, she was an incredible fan of the original and just kind of like was so excited and down. And she just brought a lot of ideas to it right away.
All live here?
Along with our mom. She's not here. She's
Out on a very deserving spa day. I'm high as hell.
I think she just learns that you gotta figure it out. And I think that's kind of what I've learned in real life, of just like, okay, nobody knows. Like, the secret is that nobody knows. Okay, good. Okay, good.
Kim Coleman, our casting director, she just really had her finger on the pulse of a lot of young black actors. She put Simone in front of me, and it was pretty much immediate. She was the first person that we saw, and I knew right away that she just embodied this ingenue spirit.
Obviously, as we get older, we know the other side of it, and we're like, oh, I don't want to fail. And I do think that there is this kind of like blind confidence in Tanya that's like, all right, I'm just gonna. What do I have to lose? Like, I've got my whole life ahead of me, so I'm just gonna do it. And I really love that.
You're having parties without me? Help out. Damn dish, man.
Dishes are done, man.
Nothing can stop me.
Moviefone Spotlight. A series of profane correspondence sends a quaint seaside town into an uproar as Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley star in the farcical crime comedy Wicked Little Letters.
The mystery of the obscene little Hampton letters is causing widespread distress across the nation.
When the script arrived, Johnny Sweet's beautiful, funny script, he had a black and white photo of Edith and Rose, I think, on the front of it. And I thought, ooh. And reading it going, no, can't be, and Googling at the same time.
The first time I read it, I had no clue. I just thought it was some crazy idea that Johnny Sweet had come up with. So then to learn that it was not only based on a true story, but most of all the crazy things that happened really did happen.
Truth is stranger than fiction, and I just love that, you know, it's a story that you couldn't write.
You feel certain Rose Gooding's guilty?
I can't see why they think it's me. Some of the verge of making history here. I was a bit roisterous once or twice.
I just thought it was going to be so much fun, and I get to go to work with somebody that I love with all my heart and deeply think she is the best actress in the world. So I just knew that it would be a great I just knew it would be a great fun time.
Rose Gooding, who allegedly harassed a pretty young Christian woman.
What's the evidence?
Similarities in the language.
It's set in 1920s in a little village called Little Hampton. And I guess the kind of nature of this sensational story that happened in real life, and that it came from letter writing and a kind of poison pen letter gone viral. What is different to then to now is that it was letters, whereas nowadays we live in a world where trolling and an online kind of anonymous poison pen letter happens around us all the time.
It was really fun playing someone who's real, and sort of someone who, more importantly, was experiencing something that no other woman had for the first time. I mean, what a hero, and quite fun to play like a Agatha Christie type detective, so being the hero of the movie and solving crimes, like, it's really fun. I'm not standing for it. We'll catch them in the act.
Women, we're not what people think we are. We don't all sit in a parlour drinking tea and, you know, talking about what we're going to cook for our husband's dinners. Like, we have got... what we want is freedom to have autonomy of our bodies and minds and get to choose the life that we want to live. And I think that was exactly the same back in the 1920s.
Nobody swears like that.
What would you say?
You look like Queen Victoria shoved up her. You daft old...
Up next on Moviefone TV, Jeff Daniels and Helena Bonham Carter. To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviefone.com. Find it, watch it.
I feel always very much at home in the past. You know, I've spent so much of my career in the past.
Find it, watch it. A string of murders threatens to unravel a small, tight-knit community as Jeff Daniels and Maura Tierney return for Season 2 of the crime drama series, American Rust, Broken Justice.
Nobody understands some of the things you have to do when you wear a badge. Put away the bad men, or if the system won't do it. You need to make things right, no matter the cost.
We'd worked out basically our entire season, and then we thought we weren't going to be able to tell it. And so we got rescued by Prime Video.
We're about 4 months after the end of season 1. There's kind of a bunch of new people in his life, including Grace.
Body was found at 8:32 a.m. No witnesses, no suspects.
What I love about American Rust is when you scratch underneath the surface of rust, you get steel. So you see very durable people dealing with the cards that they're dealt.
I think Harris shot both guys and then switched up the guns.
As soon as I'm reelected, I'm going after Harris.
She's starting from physically a different place because she's living with Dell, but he's spending a lot of time in Pittsburgh.
Some of my favorite scenes in season 2 are when Maura, as Grace, goes on the rant, when she challenges the whole room. They're fun scenes to watch.
That woman sent my son to prison where he was nearly murdered, waiting for a trial that never should have happened.
I feel like it's a real universal experience. It doesn't matter whether you're in a small town or a big city.
I mean, all of these characters just yearning, wanting, needing more.
This is your last chance for me to protect you in all this.
I don't need your protection.
Am I being charged with something here? Because if not, I believe you need a warrant.
Whatever your definition of the American dream is, and for these people in this show, maybe it's just like a stress-free life. Maybe it's just peace, which is all they really want.
If you say American dream, I think that is a goal, to have some sense of peace or contentment or safety, which is not achievable for everybody.
Whether the American dream is alive or not, it certainly is with Grace, and she's striving to achieve that American dream.
Even from the beginning, this was always about the broken American dream.
There is that hope and dream, but then like the only thing in your own way is yourself. I think it's a really interesting question of what is the American dream?
It's me I don't trust.
My evil way.
Moviefone recommends. Based on an incredible true story, Sir Anthony Hopkins stars as a London broker who saved over 600 Jewish children from Nazi occupation in the biographical drama One Life.
30 seconds to on air.
Okay, and you are just here.
Good night, said Father back.
I was vaguely aware of like Nicholas Winton as a figure, but I didn't really know who he was or really understand the kind of the achievement of this rescue operation.
I was aware of it, but not very closely.
It was great to dive into the story and show the world this incredible thing that these brave people did.
Now, an extraordinary story about a young man who many years ago visited Prague. What he found there were thousands of refugees at the mercy of Hitler's imminent invasion.
It's an ordinary guy, by his own description, who finds people in trouble and decides he has to be the person to try and do something about it.
Do you ever think about the children and what happened to them?
Well, I read the book on which the film script was based. This is like the book that Barbara Winton, his daughter, wrote called If It's Not Impossible, which is really basically an investigation as to what made her father this extraordinary man.
Why are you doing this, Mr. Winton? Because I may be able to do something about it. I must.
It's certainly scary. I mean, because it's one of the things that can go wrong, which is that you don't believe that two people representing the same character. I was spoiled. I have Anthony Hopkins and Johnny Flynn. I think they've managed to deliver two extraordinary but complementary performances.
You're playing a real person, but often, in the case of Nicky, we have a few clips of him as an older guy, but there's nothing really of him younger. So the best I can do is to channel some of Anthony's rhythm so that the whole portrayal of the character kind of holds together.
Nicky, you must know we cannot save them all. You have to forgive yourself that.
I feel always very much at home in the past. You know, I've spent so much of my career in the past, but I've always just generally been fascinated by history.
It was hyper real, and any way you look, there's a real world kind of created, and you go to that place, you go to that place in your imagination of what it would have been like.
The story of Nicholas Winton is taught in Czech schools. It is part of their growing up. They know about this. You know, we shouldn't forget the parents who, in history, took that incredibly brave and foresightful decision to send their kids away, possibly forever.
Can I ask, is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?
Coming up on Moviefone TV, Josh Hutcherson and Alex Pettyfer.
When I first read the script, I was pretty surprised that I was the person that they were calling.
In case you missed it. After his elderly friend loses everything, a loner embarks on a revenge campaign against a national corporation as Jason Statham and Josh Hutcherson star in The Beekeeper.
Mrs. Parker and I were friends. She was the only person who ever took care of me.
I just got a message saying that there's a problem with my computer.
Yes, ma'am, we got this.
When I read this script, it was this fascinating keyhole look into the world of the beekeepers. And it was kind of the right amount of just enough to know what's going on and not so much that you don't lose kind of the magic and mystery of it.
When I first read the script and read a bit about Derek, I was pretty surprised that I was the person that they were calling. It's definitely a departure for me.
This is private property. Do you know what they do here? Scamming the weakest in our society. Buddy, I'm counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. There, I did it for you.
There's a lot of really cool allegories and this very interesting mythology behind bees, you know, and this idea of taking care of the hive and taking care of society and protecting the hive and protecting society. And Jason was the perfect person to express that mythology because he is so iconic.
Will you stomp his ass out?
You're telling me one man did this. The only thing you know is he's a beekeeper.
Josh is a real actor, and just, I have to say it, Derek is not Josh. He's playing a role. That's not who he is in real life. He's a very nice guy. And to take this wild, crazy character with the green jackets and the snake skin and the crazy hair, and then pair him with Jeremy Irons, it's a great alchemy. It's a great relationship.
A beekeeper? Well, that's not good.
Beekeepers is a special program outside the chain of command.
I protect the hive. When the system is out of balance, I correct it.
The guy's just got such a weight to him, and his voice and his presence is just really intense.
A passing will not be in vain.
But he's the nicest guy, very funny, very relaxed. But when they say action, he like turns it on and he clicks it into gear.
I figured I'd give the firefighters a break.
Somebody detain this guy.
It's hard to make a movie, and it's really hard to make a good movie. You never know how these things are gonna come together. And I trusted the script, and I trusted Jason.
I think I only have one scene with Jason in the entire movie. Just watching him work, the guy, he doesn't miss. Like, he's so on top of it and consistent and professional, and the choreography that he keeps in his head, and the fact that he's able to do that and have his lines and nail his mark every time, it's just, he's a fine-tuned machine. It's pretty wild.
We have to kill him before he kills his way to the top.
Indie Corner. After returning to his old neighborhood, an ex-con must confront his past to secure his future in the action thriller 5 Pounds of Pressure, featuring Luke Evans, Alex Pettyfer, and Rory Culkin.
When I was a kid, we had to write about our favorite heroes. And this one kid, he wrote about his father. And that always stuck with me.
The script is beautiful, you know, it's so well written, and I think Phil's intuition on the way that he delivers dialogue and then translates that dialogue into his filmmaking is miraculous.
I grew up in a kind of world like this, so I knew people like this, people living between the cracks of society, you know, and I knew people who were on both sides of these kinds of things.
It was pretty clear that this was his story, or pretty close to it.
I didn't know that at the time that Phil was writing it from a personal experience, but I found that out when I was speaking to him.
In 13 years' time, today's my last day. Got a new place, got a new job. But the really big news, I met my son.
He had said that he had written it from a personal point of view. He didn't go into the narrative of his life. I think that it was very cathartic for him to write this script and be able to have the opportunity to tell the narrative in the film that he wanted.
You recognize him? He used to run these streets.
It's written that he has this leather cowboy hat and leather jacket, and I was like, why the cowboy hat? He's like, I just want him to stand out. I want him to have the wrong uniform for his job. He was open to suggestions, but I was like, no, let's stick with the weird leather cowboy hat.
I was watching a lot of Harvey Keitel videos to get the accent, but then just being around Phil, like Phil is a true collaborator.
Something great about Phil was that he just always went with the most interesting idea.
5 pounds of trigger pressure. So your aim never off.
It was like an advertisement for a Glock, and it was kind of bragging about how light the trigger pressure was. Well, the idea is it's very, effortless. You don't have to work that hard to pull it. And I just kept thinking, like, wow, how much easier can you make something so violent and dangerous that little effortless action can impact so many lives for so many generations?
I can still do something good.
Stay tuned. There's more coming up on Moviefone TV. Thanks for watching Moviefone TV. To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviefone.com. Find it, watch it.